So, you know, and then you can see that the original order cost was for 7 units of this was going to be $49, and now it's $63 for 9 units. And here we were $29 for a unit now, or $58 for 2 units, and now we're $29 for 1 unit. So those kind of changes you can make right as the work order comes in. Work order comes back from the vendor or back from the crew. You can make those adjustments right there, or you accept it. So again, what we're at here, just to back up, we're at installation. So this is my other work order that I did for my internal crew. The crew came back and said, you know, they needed more tubes of caulk than I estimated 7, and they actually needed 9. And I thought that was a dual zone system, and it turned out it was a single zone system, so they only needed 1 setback thermostat. And so the crew can, again, correct those numbers, and then I can correct them on the install. And that's what I can then save in the system as what actually got installed. So again, I come over here and I set an install date to be today, and I'm going to save it. And once I do that, I can go back up here at work order, for example, and look for all my jobs, my 122 jobs. And I can see now by just looking for all my 122 jobs, all the work orders associated with 122 jobs are all installed. So that means they've gone to a vendor or gone to a crew, the crew's done the work, and returned the information and said the work was done. So I'm sitting here now at the install level. The next step you have to take after a work order moves through install is you have to move them through inspection. So each work order has to get issued, it has to be installed, and then it has to be inspected. Now normally a work order isn't inspected individually, it's inspected as an entire job. So when we move over here to inspection, so when you click on the inspection screen, once again, we're going to see a list of the work orders. And these work orders now are at the install state. Only these work orders are at the inspection state. And the work orders that are post-inspection, they've gone beyond inspection. You can't delete those at this point. But these have been inspected but haven't been reported back to the state, so we can still delete these inspection records and modify them if we had to. So we still, at the agency, we still control these, and these 3 up here are still at install. So what we have to do is we have to inspect these out. And the most common way to do that is you pick one of the jobs. So we can pick this job right here, the crew job. You'll see I want to pick an inspector that's going to do the inspection. Maybe John Auditor is going to go out and do the inspection. And what I might want to do is request a QC form, and I can say QC the entire job. So you see the little checkbox? There's a little checkbox right here. Sorry, my new toy here that I was talking about. That checkbox lets you go ahead and say, I want to do a report for the entire job. So when I click on QC form, when I click on QC form, what I'm going to get now is a printable form that the inspector can use to go on site, and it'll have all of the various measures on it. So it has the replace fuel line, replace oil tank, and in this case, since we don't care whether it's a health and safety or what measure group it came out of, what priority group it came out of, we're more concerned with the measure group. So when an inspector goes, they're going to look at all of the heating stuff at once, kind of. That's the logical way the inspector is going to look at it. So we go ahead and put the smart thermostat in with the oil tank, even though these were two health and service related measures, and this was a program operation measure. It just comes through. The inspector then can pass or fail the measure and put a comment on it. You know, and so they can go through and fill out this form. And like I said, we can do the form for the entire job. And if you know, we can print the form for the entire job. And then what can happen is that the vendor can come through here, excuse me, when the inspection form comes back, you can come through here and just, if you just hit status, you just automatically pass everything. We'll go back, I'm going to do another one after a break where things fail inspection and you have to redo it. But right now I'm going to assume the world is nice and everything passed. So I just pass everything here, and then I have to give it a date that when it passed, and I save it. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and do the other two because I did an entire job QC form. So I can go to the other one. Again, I do have to say that it was John Auditor who did the audit, but I can save that. And I forgot to tell it it passed. I can save that as it passed, and I can go to this one. Again, this is I picked the wrong one. I want to pick this one that's at install. Tell it the inspector. Tell it the date. Save. Need a break. So at that point, again, if I look for job, my ARA job 112, you just scan for 112, and it was 0112. 112. 122. Thank you. You should stop scanning for it because they're right there. 122. Dash 122. So now all three of my jobs I can check in all three of the work orders. I shouldn't say jobs, I should say work orders. All three of the work orders are inspected out. They all have an inspection. They all have an inspection date associated with them. So, in effect, this job is done from a work order point of view. We've done everything here. Okay? The only thing we have to do to say this job is we're really kind of done with this job is we want to go back into the job list. Go back to the job. Now when we go look at priority audit, we'll see that everything has an install date. They all got installed, so I can look at this and I say, okay, yeah, everything's installed. What I'm still missing here is I haven't declared the funding source yet. Since this is an ARA job, I can just charge everything to ARA. So I can just do that, pick ARA right there, save it, and it'll automatically pick ARA as my funding source for all of the measures. Now, if there was a particular measure, for example, maybe the two health and safety measures that we added, the replace the tank and then we had to go back and add in the replacement of the fuel line, maybe I actually want those to go to DHS, I could do that. I could just override it and just switch the funding source. We do allow you to split a job between multiple funding sources.
You have your install date. What's the install date at the bottom?
The install date on the bottom is for the rare case where you might not want to issue a work order for something.